And as Israel's military winds down its operation in the north of the Gaza Strip, some of the thousands of Palestinians displaced from areas like Jabalia are heading back, only to find there is little left of the place they used to call home.
Israel's war against Hamas has wiped out much of this neighborhood. For those who've returned, it's now a battle for survival. And everyone must pitch in to help gather the most basic of needs.
We've had a hard time since the beginning of the war. All the basic necessities are gone. There is a lack of everything. There is no flour, fuel, sugar, and almost no water. We do nothing but fetch water all day.
Hytham says his family cook just once a day to conserve their limited supplies. And as all around them the threat of famine and disease grows, thoughts turn to the devastating impact of this war and the many no longer here.
All of my cousins are dead. My wife's family is dead. 36 people died in one swoop. None of my children get any sleep. We lie and say that what they hear are birds, or that it's a knock on the door. Even if rockets or mortars are falling, we try to reassure them.
But that's not easy to do when surrounded by the scars of conflict.
This is where I used to sleep. Now it's impossible to sleep. The cold is killing us. When we got back home, I saw that my room, toys and bed had burned down. I don't have anything left.
And it's not just the buildings that lie in ruins. Hope for the future is also crumbling, as fundamental differences remain over a post-war future for Palestinians and Gaza.
And for more on this, let's bring in Shayna Lowe from the Norwegian Refugee Council, which operates in Gaza. She's joining us from Jerusalem. Shayna, we just saw in our report a family that decided to go back to the north of the Gaza Strip. Is it safe to do that?
You know, it most likely isn't safe to go, because even if hostilities have subsided or ceased in northern Gaza, there's the risk of unexploded ordnances. Reports have been that as many as 9 out of 10 bombs have not exploded. So when you have families returning to northern Gaza before UN or humanitarian agencies have been able to go through and ensure that an area is safe, you run the risk that people returning home who's managed to survive over the last 15 weeks could end up returning home and finding that there are unexploded ordnances in their homes and facing consequences such as those bombs being triggered and killing or maiming those seeking safety and seeking shelter.
And another danger experts are warning of is hunger and famine, which they say could kill more people than the actual war and the falling bombs. What's being done to prevent that?
This is something that we've been concerned about for many, many weeks, even before the spread of disease, as we've seen happen. The UN has already reported over 8,000 cases of hepatitis A that have been reported due to people being in unsanitary conditions. Really, what we need to see is a massive scaling up of aid and assistance going into Gaza in order to stave off starvation, ensure that people are getting the food that they desperately need, the clean water that they desperately need, the medicines and medical supplies that they desperately need. Unfortunately, what we've seen is that Israel has prevented some of those essential aid items, including water desalinization machinery and chlorine tablets to purify water, from entering Gaza. And so this is something that's going to perpetuate this health crisis. And so what we desperately need is the lifting of these obstructions and restrictions from allowing all necessary aid to enter Gaza.
And just briefly, if I may, why is Israel blocking the aid?
You know, I think that'd be a great question to ask Israeli authorities. There are claims that some of this aid could be dual use, but in terms of medicines, clean water, these are things that are necessary for the civilian population to survive. Israel, as the occupying power in Gaza since 1967, has an obligation to provide for the basic needs for survival of the occupied people. What we've seen is that they have not been abiding by that obligation, and they haven't been allowing third states and independent NGOs, international NGOs, from entering and providing that assistance if they're unwilling to do so.
Okay, Shayna Lowe from the Norwegian Refugee Council, thank you so much.
Thank you.